Did the mics go out?
Oh no. Can you not hear me? I can hear you.
I can hear you now. Okay.
Oh,
Sweet. Good start.
yeah. Good start. Well, I just gave you like an incredible intro and you missed the entire thing. Just kidding.
I'll listen to it back.
No, I was just saying this is episode 30, which is kind of wild. And I was just giving Adam a little bit of a backstory on how this thing started, as it's been a brainchild for 3 years, not really knowing what it was going to be. And it's kind of evolved to just talking to awesome, interesting people. And Adam, we actually met years ago virtually on your podcast, Buyer versus Builder, or is it Builder versus Buyer?
The latter. Yeah. Builder versus Buyer.
Yeah. Builder versus Buyer. It was really fun. Adam is Adam Steiner owns, is it Birnam Design? Yep. Pronounced Birnam in Indiana. And does I want to talk about all the houses that you've designed, because I can't even imagine how many it is. And then I'd love to talk about, we met up at the Builder Show last week in Orlando. And I'd love to kind of get some of your thoughts on what you took away from that. You know, how many was it? 300 million square feet of floor space at that convention?
Yeah, I know that's smaller than Vegas, but man, there's a lot of area there. I walked 2 miles a day, I think, at least.
Yeah, I've been meaning to pull it up on my phone to really see on Wednesday how far I walked and how much was actually on the floor and how much of it was trying to go get my Uber to go to dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a mess, but we don't need to get into that.
We'll probably talk about it. But thanks for being here, Adam. How you been,
Thanks
man?
for having me. This is awesome. Love being live.
Yeah,
I love talking.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Cool. So you went to Purdue for engineering, civil engineering, right?
I did, correct.
Where did your love of house design come from? And tell us what your kind of primary business is and what you're doing these days.
Oh, I love this. So I grew up around the construction industry. I forget how many great-great-grandpa has a historic landmark house in Ohio. It's an octagon house, Zimmerman-Bury octagon house. Yeah. So this is in my blood. He was an inventor and stuff. This is in my blood. This is all I've ever known and done. My grandpa was a builder. My dad is a builder. And so, yeah, I took a CAD class in high school and my dad was like, wait, you know CAD? And I'm like, yeah. And he threw me in the office, had me work a couple hours after high school through the summers. And I was working part-time all the way through college for him. And I really fell in love with it. I'm kind of like the home design stuff more than the engineering stuff. I'm not sure I really want to be an engineer. And my dad was like, just stick through it, get your degree. Don't do something stupid now. But right after I graduated, I went and worked for him straight away. Just because I loved the intersection of creativity with the rigid parameters of trying to figure out how to structurally support, get mechanicals through and all that stuff. So yeah, been doing it ever since. Started my own firm in 2020 and do a bunch of custom design now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, a little bit of that backstory. I was curious if your family, who comes from a world of home design and construction, is just trying to say, don't do it. Go be an engineer. Don't do this stuff.
I think my dad really wants everybody in the business.
Yeah.
I have a brother who's a mechanical engineer in Indy, and yeah, he's a brilliant guy, but my dad would take him in a heartbeat, even though he knows nothing about construction anymore. But I mean, he knows about HVAC design, but that's about it. But yeah, I think I don't know. I have a lot of respect for builders and what they go through, but I like the distance I am to the build project, and I don't know that I would want to be any closer because there's just a different level of stress they deal with on a daily basis than what I do.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, you know.
Well, oh yeah, and I'm kind of back in it down here in North Carolina because we're slowly building a construction operation. So after this show, I'm headed to the job site to deal with just that. And it's more, Yeah, it's more than just figuring out how everything comes together. It's making sure that dust doesn't get into the HVAC system, while under construction. It's so many layers of false work, if you will, like the other stuff besides just what's built. It's all the other peripheral things, the logistics of how two people, how an electrician and a drywaller are going to work in the same space at the same time.
Yeah.
It's kind of 6-dimensional.
Yeah.
But circling back to home design, like I feel you there, man. Like the human scale to me is really fun. And when you connect that with just knowing how families live and how people like to live and trying to solve those problems, is really, to me, way more fun than working on hotel convention center lobbies that have 300-foot ceilings. Like I can't connect with that.
Yeah.
So I feel you on that passion. How many projects, how many house designs do you think you've done over the years?
I'm probably in the thousands now. I would guess. Because my parents' company, I still work with them a lot. They are a semi-custom builder, so we'll meet and I'll actually do CAD in front of clients. And some of the stuff is semi-custom, tweaking a wall here and there, and some of the stuff is full-on custom. But yeah, I've got 20 or 30 projects going right now, and I've had that volume pretty much the whole time I've been running my business. Yeah, and so I don't know, been doing this for 20 years. I don't know what that equates to, but it's a lot. It's a lot of floor plans. I see a lot of floor plans. I was just with a client and he's like, he was describing something and his wife was like, "Hey, can you slow down? I don't think he's and I'm like, no. I'm following. This is all I look at every day for 2 decades. You're good."
Yeah. And with all of that, catalog in your head, is there any kind of specific, design type that you're drawn to?
Yes, and it's always changing. Like I'm doing some in Colorado now that we keep coining mountain modern, which I know is not really a thing, but everybody knows what I mean when I say it. So yeah, I'm really liking that stuff. Some of the Scandinavian, I haven't had a client bite on it, but some of the Scandinavian design, I'm like, oh, it looks really, really cool. So yeah, that's the stuff I'm drawn to. I don't know about you. I'm curious your thoughts. I feel like every 3 to 6 months, I look back on a drawing and I'm like, wow, I'm so much better now. Like every basically half a year, you look around and you're like, I got a lot better at this. Like I'm just so much better than I was.
Well, and I do agree with that. And part of it is better because I think we get to solutions faster because we've already tested a million things. So like I'll sit down with my younger team and look at one of the designs and be like, what if we do this? And they're like, wow, that's brilliant. Dave, you're so brilliant. I'm like, no, I've just literally been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right? Like bathroom layouts can be really fun if you just break your mind from a 5x8 bathroom with a toilet at the end. If you give me a 10x10 square to lay out a bathroom, like you can do some really cool stuff. And I've played out from the first firm I ever worked for. That kind of blew my mind because I'm like, it's just a bathroom. He's like, no, let's put this wall here, float it in the middle, put the vanities on it. One side is a shower, the other side is the water closet, right? And now you have like this bathroom no longer just a bathroom. Now it's like a space,
Yeah. Or like maybe this sounds cocky of me, but I feel like I've gotten to the point in my career where, how they describe a good chess player, like sees so many moves ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm there where a client will suggest something and I'm like, no, because that's going to make, I know this is on the backside of the house, but that's actually going to make the front of your roof line look weird because that was the main ridge. And now we've cast that above, like there's all this little stuff that I'm seeing 2-3 moves ahead that clients aren't really thinking about. I'm like, please just trust me on this. I've tried it. I've done it. It doesn't work.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, I remember my brother's built a couple houses in Virginia. And I think the first one that he built, they made a modification of the builder plan. Now all of a sudden you got this post that comes down in the entryway next to the stair because of that little modification. Because these things in your engineering brain like understands all these relationships, that you're literally not just building a box and being able to flex it. There's bearing points, there's relationships, we're not running floor joists on a 40-foot span. There's going to be beams and structural load bearing walls and things like that, which yes, it's pretty cool. What's funny, and I don't know how deep you go into it with your clients, but I found we think about those things early, and then somehow down the road, we forget about it. And then we make a move and we're like, oh, that's right. That's why we couldn't do that. Does that ever happen?
Oh, yeah. All the time. I get caught with my pants down for that. Like, you take so much time and effort to not put a bathroom above a garage or something. And then, 2 revisions later, somebody moves a wall and you're like, oh, that probably work. And you forget all about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Now I've got a plumbing line going right through the garage. Insulated garage door.
Yeah.
Now we got to insulate the whole garage.
Yeah.
So you're designing house. So you said Colorado. Where else? And that's another interesting part too, because they're different throughout the country in terms of building codes, building methods, means and methods, all that stuff. So where else are you designing?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've done a few in Texas. I've done a bunch not a bunch, but some in Tennessee. Most of my stuff though is Indiana, Michigan. That's the bulk of what I do. But yeah, I've kind of touched a lot of different markets, and it's weird to be in it. And it seems almost like a different process. Like the Colorado house, those I've done a few in the same subdivision. It's just a very picky community, a very picky subdivision. And like, I get why they want great homes in there, and I'm not against that at all. But I get people around here that are like, oh man, dealing with this subdivision was tough. And I'm like, it's not, it's not, you know,
right.
There's just so much that you have to go through. I describe it like this. Normally when I'm building a house, I'm rarely up against any rule, you know, like maybe a maximum height here and there. Maybe there's a setback thing that I have to pay attention to, but at most on my projects, it's usually one. With the Colorado houses, I'm up against the fence on like 4 different fronts. Like we're within 5% of maximum height. We're within 5% of impervious coverage. We're, you know, like all these things. And it's just so much to dial in and think about through the process. And so much like those tweaks as a client changes one thing. Yeah, I had it all calculated a draft ago, and now I've got to go back through and recalculate all that stuff. Like it's just different. Yeah.
And are you only doing new construction, or do you do any additions and remodels?
I do additions and remodels reluctantly. I think people think it's easier, and therefore my fees should be less. And we need to talk about this, by the way. Sorry, tangent. But sure. I think there's a perception that commercial construction is the top tier. That's the hardest stuff to do. And then you have new construction, single family custom stuff. That's the middle tier. And then remodeling is the easy stuff. That's the easy stuff to get into. That's where people start. It's actually the complete opposite. Commercial construction is so easy because engineers and architects have everything dialed in, and so much more of the stuff is thought about. Permit reviewers, like that construction, and there's no emotional attachment to it. That construction is actually a lot easier. What you guys are doing, the remodel side, that's expert mode. Because like you were saying, like not only is there emotional attachment, but the client is there in the house every single day. Maybe not all the time I don't know. I'm curious your builds, but to have the emotional connection and they live there is just a whole nother level of client management that adds just a huge layer of stress, I imagine. I'm curious your thoughts here.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting, and we don't do any commercial, but you know we have or been involved in it. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think you know as you get into commercial, it's a little bit more what's the word? Not calculative. What's the word? equation-y. Like it's a clear problem that's defined and solvable. And then the rest of it is interior design, right? When you just plug it in like all this stuff.
Yeah.
Is my experience. New construction, and we do some new construction. We don't really advertise it too much just because it distracts from kind of our core additions and remodeling. But new construction, I think, is fun, but it's hard. You have no constraints. So it's to our team, we're so used to solving a problem that has something existing. And when we're kind of, and I don't want to say we're in a vacuum in new construction because we have a site and there's other stuff, obviously, that's part of it. But whenever we do new construction, the house just seems to grow and grow and grow. When you're in design an addition or a remodel, like we're usually hitting max spaces or, setbacks or something pretty quickly, and we can't do that. So those, from our design experience, I'm not going to say the overall, execution of the project is in any way easier, because it is not. But coming up, just because of our experience, coming up with kind of creative solutions within that space, I don't want to say it's easier. I would just say we're more equipped for it because we've been doing it so much, and we, just like you can solve those things ahead of time in your head on new construction and understand the relationships and the party of that house, we kind of do that in our world of remodeling.
Makes sense.
But we don't know what's in the walls. Like, we just don't. And every house is built different. Whether we think, especially in Chicagoland, we'll see 3 bungalows that look exactly the same. And one is solid masonry. Another one is stick built. And then the third one is built with clay tile masonry because the guy in 1920 who built it, his brother made clay tile. Right? And you're like,
that's insane. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and we don't know. And we do a level of exploratory demo if necessary. But the problem with exploratory demo is it makes you think that you know the answer, and then you design everything around that answer. So the way we try and approach it is identify places where we just don't know the answer until we literally tear everything out. Is that side of it. Then yes, the other side of it is clients living in the houses is hard, and it's emotional on a lot of levels. One, it's really weird to see your house completely torn apart.
Yeah.
If you've lived there for 5 years and your kids were born there and then everything's like ripped apart, for some people it's very exciting because they hated it, but it's kind of weird, it's, and then you just have all these people in your house all day long, and then you feel like there's no progress happening because they're doing, MEP stuff for 2 months. And then you're waiting for inspections and you feel like nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden drywall happens and you're like, yay, we're almost there. Nope.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that comes in after that. So we have what we give all of our clients, and we have a LivCo branded one now, but I don't know if you've ever seen the funk chart. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally it. An architect made this thing, and it shows the emotional level of the owner, the builder, and the architect, the family dog, the kids throughout the phase of a project. And it's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
So we try and use that to manage client emotions and expectations. And then we do have clients that move out for sure, which is super helpful. But the same thing, they're still having their house torn apart and they want to get back in there as soon as possible. And usually they're renting a house, and if schedules are pushed for whatever reason and they need to get back in there, they're moving back into a construction zone that they feel like is never going to be complete. So it's a big effort to manage the client experience, and we're as we grow, we're trying to further build that out.
Yeah.
This isn't about me, man. This is about you.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I hijacked your pod.
No, I mean, it's really a conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
So at the Builder Show, we caught up with each other. You came to the panel that I was on, and we talked about technology and AI a little bit. What are you seeing for AI in your world? I'm sure it's pretty impactful, or has the potential to be.
I've been slow to adopt anything. Actually, I was kind of inspired by your talk. I'm like, oh, I need to do this more. So there's very little I use on a day-to-day basis. I use ChatGPT to help brainstorm some text and video ideas. You gave me the idea of putting plan sets and spec sheets in there, making sure they match and stuff. Like, oh, brilliant. That's awesome. But I haven't done that yet. And then I still haven't found, I don't see yet a generative AI for space planning that works, or I would feel comfortable enough to send to a client. And I still haven't even found a rendering AI that I would feel comfortable sending to a client, because I run into two roadblocks there. One is it doesn't really save me any time, because I'm like, okay, I'm basically modeling the whole thing anyway. That doesn't help. And then two is if I send it stuff too early, it thinks the design is flexible and moves roof lines and windows and stuff. I'm like, it's doing stuff that's not possible. I'm like, I can't send that to a client either. So yeah, I've been slow to adopt it. I'm not like against it though. I know it's coming. Part of it makes me sad, but that's another story. Like I'm not going to be stubborn about it, but I just haven't found anything that really integrates yet. But I know it's from 6 to 18 months now, and we'll be having a different conversation. Like, this stuff is happening so fast.
Yeah, and I hear you. I was actually before this episode, I was testing the Varus that I talked about. It's part of Inkscape, our rendering engine.
Yep.
And I was digging in on that, and it kind of took me down a rabbit hole, and it gave me some stuff, but it's maybe 80%. And now I'm spending more time having it modify a generative image that I could just be doing and designing the space and modeling it myself, and maybe exploring something better. So yeah. I think the feedback loop as a level of inspiration is really helpful. But I don't disagree. Like, if the image that it produced for me for this project right now, where it changed a bunch of stuff, I'm like, well, we didn't want to do that. We're not supposed to have upper cabinets there. Why does it think it should have upper cabinets? Because whatever its model says is like, that wall is too white, and for this design style, we need this, and we don't necessarily agree with it, or it doesn't solve the client's needs. Now, if I present them this image, it's really like, this is solely just to give you something more realistic, but it's not really the space. I don't know that really helps me in any way. Yeah. Other than make it look like I'm cheating using AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it could be kind of dangerous to show clients, especially stuff that has colors on it, because that's, we spend our lives making forms look awesome, and then the first thing people notice about a house is the color.
Right.
But like the colors and materials, people get really attached to that stuff really quickly. It's like, this doesn't exist. You can't find that tile anywhere. Good luck. Sorry, you loved it.
Yeah.
No,
I totally agree. We do a fair amount of texture mapping and things like that in our renderings, but I want to go back to something I just said, because I feel like I just thought about it, but I think it's very true. Like, if this client came in and they're paying us for our really creative design services, and we show them an AI generated image, they would be like, well, what are we paying you for? I could just load this into ChatGPT, a picture of the space, and say, what should I do here? Yeah. So it almost like undermines what we're doing to get to where we were. So where I have seen it be beneficial is literally take this exact rendered image that we're producing out of Inkscape and make it look more realistic. That's it. Don't change anything. Throw some people in it. Adjust I'm not a rendering pro, however, whatever engine it uses, like make the lighting better, make it look more realistic, create better reflections, things like that. That works for me, but I'm right there with you. I don't think the actual spatial learning is there yet. And a fellow, Yuhan, came over and chatted with me afterwards. Did you have a chance, or I don't know?
No, I did. I saw who you're talking to. Yeah, I didn't meet him though.
I'm going to have him on the show, I think, in a couple weeks.
Oh, awesome.
He's really digging into, he came from a world of AI like way back when, which is, I guess, 5-10 years ago in the sports world and sports analytics. And so he understands the challenges, excuse me, in the spatial aspects of AI.
Yeah.
And I don't understand this stuff at all. So I'm really excited to talk to him about that, because I think that is going to be a major breakthrough, which will be really exciting in a lot of ways and help us get to, maybe all of a sudden your 2,000 designs are cataloged and generated into, your own AI model of, the Adam Steiner GPT. I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder. So I do think architecture will be one of the last fields that really has good generative AI. I mean, last being what, 5-10 years tops, because of the licensing stuff of like the licensing and copyright, I think is pretty strong with architecture floor plans, whereas ChatGPT can crawl a blog right now, and get language models a lot easier and image models a lot easier than they can a working floor plan. So yeah, I do wonder if it's a global, like is Pulte Homes using this, or in the Lennars of the world, or is it like kind of like people, didn't Logan Paul do this where he it was Sora or one of those where he put in his image and said anybody can make content using me, basically, with this generative AI. Like you're saying, is there a Birnam Design Co. generative AI, like make my designs? But the library it was trained on is just my stuff. I don't know. I mean, I kind of like that better than just like people going one click and getting a floor plan. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I agree. Like, I would like to be able to control, like have my own creative AI or LivCo's own creative AI and be able to control that versus that just go into the world of everything known.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you're right. Like all of our designs aren't in the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
Like they're not accessible. And it's more than just a floor plan too.
Right.
There's a lot of relationships that go into these things. Anyway, what were you going to say?
I don't remember now. Must not have been that important.
I should have let you go with it.
No.
Anything else cool? Like, where'd you spend most of your time at the Builder Show at IBS?
So
other than in a taxi or an Uber.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The rental minivan I got.
Right.
Which is this year I made a real concerted effort. I'm like, I want to do better at networking. Just getting around people. Like I've done some through the podcast, but I've always just I've gone to builder shows before, just hung out with my own little world. I'm like, I'm going to get out there and do it more. So I ran into Matt Bloomquist with Build, Learn, Teach. He's an awesome guy. He's a a tech school teacher, right? For building trades. They're building houses. And he was like, "Oh, are you going to the Sashco event?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't think it was for me, but I'd love to go." And he's like, "Yeah, do it." And then so I go and get to meet Emily Mortram and Matt Reisinger, and like Matt Reisinger's COO or something, and just like they say never meet your heroes, but these people are really cool and really nice.
Yeah.
And spent a genuine amount of time just answering questions and talking building and stuff like, oh, they're just normal people. But this was really, really good for me to go get some real connections like that. Some like trade school teachers that were there too. And so I think that's the biggest thing I pulled from it, was just like, let's expand the network a little. And I think that was worth the show for me. Cause like the show floor is cool. And if you haven't been, you should go. But if you've been in the last, 3-4 years, you didn't see that much new stuff. some companies brought the same thing from Vegas that they had the last couple of years. You know, it didn't like, I think Cambria's, I've seen the same booth at Cambria for 5 years now.
Well, because they spent like $10 million on it.
Yeah. And it looks cool. Yeah, it looks cool going through it, but there's only so many marble looking quartzes you can put on Instagram before people stop watching. So
yeah, I hear you. It was and you're probably the same way though. Like some of the exhibits, I'm less interested in the exhibit than I'm more interested in how in the hell they built this thing.
Yeah.
And got it in there.
Yeah.
You know, in a day. Like how many people, and it was really funny talking to someone who like the cost, what they charge you to be at the builder show. This is from another company, and she was the coordinator for events, and the conferences are her least favorite thing to do. And she said, if you want internet at your booth, it's $17,000.
Wow.
Like it just is. Like they can literally charge whatever they want. And someone did like an analysis and they're like, we make it 18, people aren't going to pay it.
Yeah. There's some meeting.
Like you can use the Wi-Fi here, but if you really want dedicated internet so that, you know, when someone comes through and you need to show them a demo, that's going to be $17,000. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess we'll pay that. So I do believe they've been trying to do a better job. I think that there's like small company access that they're trying to give to let smaller groups get in. Like if LivCo, you know, or Birnam wanted to have a booth and kind of talk about house plans, I would guess, you know, they have an opportunity for you to do that doesn't cost $1 million, but I don't know. Yeah. Because you might be, you know, pushed over to the side. And you know, the tech companies, they seem to get bigger and bigger this year, but there's still some really small booths and some interesting stuff. But I would like to, it seems like a lot of construction management software are kind of the bigger booths. And it almost seems like it's less about them necessarily connecting with clients. I don't want to say that because I'm sure it is, but they're all just competing with each other on who can have the bigger booth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And they're all next to each other.
Yeah, they are. It's hard to
They're all looking to see who has more potential
like
customers.
See over the top.
Yeah.
Like the towers are getting taller. The sign that I've really made it is my dream would be to sponsor a booth at the Builder Show, and it's just have a beer with Birnam. And it's just lawn chairs and coolers, and there's no like product or anything. We're not talking. You could talk shop if you want to, but yeah, like just sit in a lawn chair, have a beer, hang out.
And I will say, and I'm not
it
talking
would be the
anymore,
most popular booth.
I would be there. I would just be hanging out. Well, the most popular booth that I saw was the one that had the massage chairs, and you could buy them, and they had like 10 set up. You couldn't get in them because they're all lined up because everyone just
I didn't see that
walk like 10,000 miles. Or I'd sell like, you know, walking shoes or something like that. But one thing, because I don't want to bash Orlando anymore, because I appreciate them doing that and AHB and all and KBiz and all they do to put this thing on. But one thing Orlando did well that I don't think was as big a deal in the Vegas ones is at like 4 o'clock, like there's just kegs of beer everywhere. Where in Vegas, they're kind of around, but it's literally everywhere you turn there's beer for you, which it's like at a wedding. When you get to the wedding and everyone's waiting in line, if you give them a drink, they're fine. Because if it was 4 o'clock and there's no beer and you're stranded at the convention center, it's going to take you 2.5 hours to get an Uber to get to the restaurant or a 45-minute walk to your hotel, you're going to be angry. But you're like, wow, I just have a beer.
Yeah.
So they did a good job with that.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
That's my... Well, we don't have a whole lot of time because I know you got to run, but I want to dig into software a little bit. What software are you designing in? What are you using?
Okay, don't make fun of me. You ready? AutoCAD Lite.
Oh man.
So I do some in Revit. I've done a handful of jobs in Revit. And then I do a lot of all my rendering and stuff is SketchUp to Enscape. I am still in AutoCAD because I think in AutoCAD. And I think this is an underrated part. Like, I admit that a whole project start to finish is probably faster in Revit. I'm also not good at Revit, so I understand that I'm not comparing apples to apples. I will admit that, but also I think Revit is not a great space planning space, and a true architect like yourself would argue, like, okay, you're supposed to be hand drawing then and doing bubble diagrams and stuff. I'm like, I know, but I never learned any of that, so all of that is in AutoCAD, and it's so fast and quick and easy to space plan in AutoCAD when you're just drafting. And then, like, once you're doing that, to then switch to Revit is never, like, there's so much prep you need to do to get to start Revit even. I'm like, that's not how my brain works. That's not how my projects go. So it hasn't worked for me to jump, and I'm not like super incentivized to do it either. I don't know. Thoughts?
No, that's okay. Yeah, I hear you. I don't think space planning in Revit is beneficial for my mind either. I mean, we use SketchUp, so we'll do some hand drawing just to figure out parties and sketch out some different layouts and things like that. But for the most part, SketchUp, just like your brain designs in AutoCAD, and there's nothing wrong with that. Our brains are designing in SketchUp, and like that 3-dimensional space and rotating it around is just, what I've been doing since it came out, 22 years ago. But then Revit, like, as an engineer, man, oh, it's so cool. Like, it's freaking fun. I'm just surprised you wouldn't just kill it in Revit. Like, oh my God, the templates, the view templates, like all the integrations of it and the workflow stuff, once you really dig in, it's really cool. But it's a very different way of thinking.
It is. And I've gotten to this point in a Revit project so often where you get the thing set up and you're like, okay, I'm ready. And then you start drafting and you're like, holy crap, this is fast. There's so much I can do so quickly. And then you get 80% of the drawing done. And then you're like, I just have the stairs and roof to do. I'm sure it's fine. And it's not fine. And it's never fine. And there's always, maybe I'm modeling poorly, but there's always some little thing that, like, is attached to one other thing that I accidentally did. Like, I was doing a patio and moved a patio up an inch, and then it removed the stone on my wall. I'm like, no, those weren't even connected. They're not joined.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it can introduce a world of pain. Yeah. It becomes an art at some point, understanding wall joins and roofs. And it can be a rabbit hole too when you're trying to figure stuff out. And then sometimes you're like, you know what, I'm just going to delete this roof and start over because something's not clicking here.
Yeah.
But if you are, and this isn't, plug-in Revit at all any more than I already am, because I don't necessarily think it's the best software. I just think it's like, when I learned it was when Autodesk had first bought it, and I just kind of had fun with it because it was like I was building something. Yeah. It was cool, and it was like walls and floors, but a completely different interface and way of thinking. And I had Phil Reed on, I don't know, a month ago or so, and he wrote the Mastering Revit Architecture book. Like, he worked for Revit before Autodesk bought it. He's like one of the coolest people. It's a fun episode to listen to anyway, but that book, if you're trying to learn Revit, that is the one to follow along with. And, this was 20 years ago now. You can download all this stuff, but they have all the models to download and stuff like that. And the Revit models that you're building, the little exercises that you're doing, are really great little designs. They're really cool, like houses and different elements. So it's not just like, here's a stair and here's a railing with the pickets. Like, you're doing everything that you're building is like cool and architectural. So it's like, it's fun. And it also really teaches you the essence of what you're trying to do. It's not just teaching you to do it. So if you wanted to really dig in and, over spring break or something when you're really bored, it's a pretty cool exercise. But
I will check
or
it
just
out.
Nothing wrong with LT. It's just I don't know that I would have the patience to be able to fully document an entire house in AutoCAD anymore and be confident that all those relationships were right.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Revit.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like, I know Revit kind of tightens things up because everything, but like, I don't know. It just seems loose to me. Like, I don't know what I'm grabbing. It feels like I'm grabbing a liquid, you know?
It can be really messy
with me.
Yeah. Even figuring out how to start it is weird. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then SketchUp, man. SketchUp's super fun.
I'm recommending SketchUp to people all the time because it's still free. There's still a free web version, which is insane. It's the best free software maybe on the planet. And then, it's so much fun, especially beginners. If you are starting this career and you want to get into it, make a lot of roofs in SketchUp. That's how you figure out home design, because that's the hardest part. Everybody can figure out the layouts and the room relationships. That stuff is a lot easier, but make roofs. Get in there, make roofs and model them, and it'll force your brain to figure out hips and valleys and gable ends, what does and doesn't look good. Like, do it a lot. And I think that's like a speed course to getting good at home design.
Totally. Yeah. And it's just these fun exercises in geometry too.
Yeah.
I love geometry. So I enjoy SketchUp to that point. Like 3 points make a plane. That's it.
Yeah.
It's the essence of everything in the software. It's so fun and basic. And so you can always connect the dots and create stuff. Try to get my kids playing with it when they were like 8 or 9, but then they just spend all their time in a 3D warehouse downloading airplanes and things like that, build an airport.
Yeah, there's that too.
Cool, man. Well, I know you got to run. Any last thoughts? Where can people find you?
Birnam Design Co, just about every platform, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I don't check LinkedIn much. Builder versus Buyer podcast. All of those are still up, but I do a lot less of them than I used to. YouTube. I'm doing a Birnam adventure YouTube. Check that out, where I run around in the woods and do mountain bike races against myself.
Oh, cool.
It's actually my most fun project. Nature is winning. But so I'm around. Reach out. I try and check messages and stuff as much as I can. Can't get back to everybody, but if you comment on a video, I'll probably see it. So
awesome, man. Well, thanks for making the time this morning. Great seeing you last week, and your dad and your brother. Is that your brother that's the mechanical engineer?
Yeah. Okay. No, different brother, but yeah.
Okay. That was super cool. So good to see you, man. Thanks for chatting, and we'll talk soon.
You too.
All right, man. Later.
I'll see ya. Bye.